Hello and welcome everyone. You're watching our special presentation, The Biggest Test. I'm Shivani Gupta, and of course the biggest test started on a disastrous note for India. 141-run loss at the hands of South Africa. Not much went right for India apart from that fighting 50 by the captain MS Dhoni. But that was, even when it was coming, we knew it was going to be in a losing cause. So the tour starting on a disastrous note. The men in blue having been crushed at the Wanderers by a 141-run defeat. But more than defeat, it is the failure of the Indian side in all the three departments of the game which will be a cause of concern. Former India captain and our cricket expert Sourav Ganguly joining us on the show. Dada, of course, when a team puts up a target of 359 first up, it's never easy chasing for any team. And yes, we expected the team to take some time to get into full gear in conditions they haven't played for a long time. But overall, a very bad loss for India. What it also does is makes the next game a do or die.
It's the first match of the series. India still have 2 games to come back. Yes, they've been beaten very badly in this game, but obviously they have opportunities in Durban and in Centurion to come back into the series.
One look at the contributions from our top 5 gives a good idea of how the Proteas got the better of them.
On these conditions, it's slightly difficult. They've got fantastic bowlers. Dale Steyn, one of the best, and these conditions, he can really swing the ball. If you see how he bowled to Rohit, initial 3 or 4 overs, it's very difficult because it doesn't really move from the good area, and he just keeps bowling there. So I think we'll have to step up overall, and the batsmen, they'll have to mentally prepare themselves for the next one.
That is what we don't want, this to be the story for the entire tour. But perhaps that is what we have to gear up for. Sourav Ganguly is with us. Now, Dada, you've opened in South African conditions, in these tough conditions. First of all, tell us how it is so different than opening in India or in subcontinent conditions, and what would your advice be as a captain to Shikhar and Rohit so that they can adjust very, very quickly in time for the next match?
See, you have to get used to the conditions. It's the bounce. You look at the bounce in Kanpur when they played the last game, it was shin height. And you look at the bounce in Joburg, even normal defensive deliveries were hitting the handle of the bat. So they're actually going through the chest high. It's different ball game. You have to play the cut shot. You'll have to get your body and mind and the hands used to different lengths and different shots, which can only happen if you keep doing it for a little period of time. That's why you will see as India goes through the series, they'll get better and better. And as I said, hopefully they'll get better in Durban, because the execution and the shot selection are completely different than what you've played in India all this while. And that's where the question of adjustment and getting used to the conditions come in, and people keep talking about that you must get used to the conditions. So once India gets used to the bounce and the pace, you'll automatically see these batsmen playing better, because they're all human. They're not supernatural that they will straight away land in different conditions and get adjusted. You bring South Africa on a turning pitch to India and give them a first hit on a pitch which is turned square, you will get the same performance, and that's why people adjust and get used to the conditions.
We spoke about the batting lineup, and of course the performance was disappointing given the conditions and the target on board and the lack of preparation. All of that combined, yes, should have tempered our expectations, but in the end the performance was a little disappointing. But what was even more disappointing was perhaps the bowling performance, because the conditions were perfect for the likes of Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Mohammad Shami, Mohit Sharma to perform much much better than they did. They hardly troubled the South Africans. One has to give credit to the likes of de Kock and Amla as well. They batted splendidly, but this young pace attack had the conditions for them to perform extremely well. They couldn't quite manage that in this match. Sourav Ganguly is still with us. He's been making the point that these players need time to get acclimatized to the conditions, and that I'm sure you feel the same for the bowlers as well. So let me just go ahead and ask you about the next match then. There's hardly any time. Do you think India will play with 4 pace bowlers in the next match, given that the conditions once again will be helpful for pace bowling?
Yeah, maybe they can have another fast bowler, but I think Ravindra Jadeja at number 7 with the bat gives them the balance. If they drop Ravindra Jadeja and play another fast bowler, I don't think their batting will be that strong, because then they'll finish at 6 at Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So I don't think they can leave Ravindra Jadeja out and bring another fast bowler. Maybe maybe bring in Umesh Yadav if he's bowling well and if he's running in well in place of Mohit Sharma and play him at Durban. So India will have two bowlers who are quick, Shami and Umesh Yadav, and then Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, who actually has done well for India. Maybe he's at a bad game, but he's a quick learner. He's done well for India in Indian conditions because the ground in Durban is not big, especially the side boundaries on both sides. You've been to South Africa so many times. You know the side boundaries are not big. The straight boundary towards the dressing rooms are not big. So the spinners can go in for a few if the South African batting get in. And South Africa have batted deep, to be honest. Ryan McLaren bat at 7, Parnell at 8. So that's a lot of batting to come. So India will have to really lift their game up. I don't see spin in this in this series. I don't see spin in New Zealand. I don't see spin in England. I don't see spin in Australia. So India will have to get their fast bowlers to raise the game, because that's how you win games overseas.